This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Yeah, everyone please be on mute. So let's talk about web services. Okay. So web services. So what is the purpose of web services? What is a web service? First question. And what is the purpose of web services and where it can be used? That is what purpose means. What is the purpose of web service and where it can be used? So this is what we are going to discuss. So in any of the software applications, if an application wanted to communicate with other applications, okay, so first of all, web service is a software program. It can be any technology. It can be Java, it can be C Sharp, or it can be C language. It can be any type of technology coding. A piece of software program which is deployed on the web is a web service. It is a software program which performs some activity for us, which performs some activity that can be anything. Let's say storing the data into a table whenever a request comes or something like that. It can be anything, sending email notifications, something like this. So anything, any action can be performed by this software program, which is a web service. So normally you have a software program in your applications also. Then how a web service is different from normal your application software programs? So that is the question. Okay, let me tell you about this. See, a web service software program will have two capabilities. Okay, that is taking an input request and sending an output response. So web service is going to take an input request and send an output response from where. So what is the purpose of web service and where it can be used? With that, I will explain you these 2 points. See, if two applications wanted to communicate with each other, two applications wants to communicate with each other, want to communicate with each other. How do applications communicate? Let's say, for example, we have two applications here. So let's say this is application 1 and this is application 2. So this is a bank application which has been developed using .NET. That's for example. Otherwise you say this has been developed using Pega. Okay. So this is a bank application which is developed using Pega. So in this application we have one of the screen, validate customer. That is a news, that is a screen. In that screen, validate customer, let's say tax. This is the screen. In this screen we have a parameter called PAN card number. So you enter the PAN card number. Okay, you enter PAN card number here, some random number I'm entering, 1 2 3 4 5. This is the PAN card number. You just imagine we have a text box here where you enter the PAN card number and there is a button. Okay, so that button you are going to click. Let's say the button, this is the button. Okay, you click on the button, validate. So once you click on the button validate, it is going to display information here. Display name, last name, and age, date of birth, and tax paid last year. Tax paid means last year only you will pay, right? So tax paid. All this information it is going to display. This is a screen which is there in Pega application, which is a banking application. So here when they enter the information while processing some loan or something, they will enter some details of a customer. Apart from that, along with that, they are going to enter PAN card number and click on the button validate. It should display all this information. But actually, if you see, our PAN card related data and taxation information related to the PAN card will not be available with banking system. They will not hold all this data. Can someone please tell me who is going to maintain your PAN card number related tax information, all that?
IT department.
Income tax
department.
Income tax.
So now, if I want taxation information, whom should I request related to a PAN card? I should request income tax department. So now income tax department, they will create one. Okay, income tax department has some database, and their database has some data related to like this. Income tax department, they do not expose their database to everyone. Whoever wanted to connect and take the data and pay us, they do not directly allow people to connect to them. So income tax database is there behind the scenes here. Okay, let me draw this here. Okay, income tax DB. So in this database, they have the data. Okay, I'm not writing all the columns here. I'm going to write only 2 columns. So one column is what is the first column? PAN number, and the second column is simply I'm writing PA tax data, tax info. This is the column. So for a given PAN card number 001, here you have data related to that. They will not expose this database. So instead, any requester, this is called as requester generally. Any of the vendors, if you want PAN card and the respective tax displayed information, any eligible institutions, not to individuals, they will not give to anyone. Any eligible institutions like banks, insurance organizations, any financial institutions, something like that, legal, some other legal departments and all. If they want, we have a service created from our end. We have a software program, web service, which is a software program created at our end. So the software program is responsible for taking a request. This program name is provide PAN tax data. This is the program that they have at their end in their application. Let's say this is developed using .NET technology. I mean C# programming. Simply I write .NET so that you will better understand. .NET technology they have developed it. Okay, now if anyone want PAN card details, they have to send us a request. In the request, we need a PAN number. In response, we send all the details like your PAN number which you have sent, name and first name or something, name, age, date of birth, and tax paid amount. All this information we will send it. This program is responsible for taking an input request and sending a response back of this data. This is the program that they have created. Now, this bank application is a Pega application which wanted to communicate with their other application, income tax department applications, software program, which is a web service. If 2 applications wanted to communicate on web, we need a web service program written, and web service program owner, who is the owner? It is called as service provider. So here, income tax department is service provider. And who here all the banks and different institutions, what you have, these are called as consumers, or you call it as requesters. You call it as requesters. You can call either consumer or you can call either requester, and these are the service providers. Okay, Airtel is service provider to us, and we are a consumer of Airtel service. Okay, when we make a phone call to their using their service, they will connect from their service providing station to some other vendor related station. That service providing station is called this software program web service. Okay, everyone clear with this? Now this web service, what we have here. So here our consumer application wanted to interact with provider application web service, but our consumer application data format in my Pega application, what is the data format? Clipboard format of data. will be there. Clipboard format of data will be there, right? So suppose if I directly view the clipboard format of data to my .NET application, .NET application will be able to understand or will not be able to understand? Will it be able to understand the data which I supply as a clipboard data?
No. Not
No,
able to.
it will not be able to understand. In a general example, let me just imagine you have two people. So one person is let's say Indian, his mother tongue is let's say Telugu, and there is another person who is from Italy, his mother tongue is Italian language. Both of these persons, they wanted to communicate with each other, but they don't know each other's language. So what they have to do now, how they communicate? We need a common language which is known to both of them, right? So what is the common language which is known to both of them? Let's say English. So now this person who belongs to India is going to communicate to other person in English language. Other person will be able to understand that English language. So if you speak, if you closely look into this, generally, if you are going to communicate with anyone else in a foreign language, and you listen to someone, and you are just communicating with others in a foreign language, whether you are a speaker or you are a listener. So as a speaker or as a listener, when you are receiving or when you are sending any of the foreign language, generally your mind is going to convert that into your native language and makes it understandable to you. That's how it works generally. But the speed increases as you are going to adapt to the foreign language generally. Okay, so this is how translation happens within your mind. So your mind always thinks about anything generally in your own mother tongue and translates that quickly. While you are learning language, initial stages of learning language, you will experience this pretty clear, that you will the way how you speak will be very slow, that you're trying to imagine that in your own mother tongue and then you translate into the foreign language. The speed will increase. Okay, so when you listen to someone else also, you listen to them in English language, your mind converts that into your own mother tongue and makes it better understandable to you. Generally, this will be very slow on initial stages of learning, but as you go on, it will be pretty fast. Within seconds, milliseconds, the translation will happen. So your own mother tongue to translate it into English, your mind is doing, and that you are delivering to other person. Other person is going to receive that in a foreign language, English language. His mind is going to internally translate that English language to Italian language. You will be able to better understand that. Then he speaks response in English language, but internally his mind is going to take everything in Italian and generates Italian output, and that Italian will be converted into within milliseconds of time into English, and he will speak English, and you receive that English language. Again, to process it within your mind, your mind is going to convert that English language quickly into your mother tongue within milliseconds of time. This is how translations happens at the source, at the destination, from its own native language to common language, and the provider is going to receive that in a common language. He will translate into his own native language and understand, generates the output in native language, converts that into foreign language and send it to third party person. This translation techniques will happen internally in our mind. So the same is concept when you come to technology also. So now Pega application language will not be understandable to .NET. .NET application, if it sends .NET variables, Pega application cannot understand. What is the solution here? We need a common data structure which will be understandable to both of these applications. Correct? So we need a common data structure. So whenever your source application is going to communicate with the requester, communicate with the provider, and your provider is going to communicate back to your requester application by sending the response. Here is your request, and this is going to be response. So now what happens here? Pega application language format will be clipboard. So when it has to communicate with other application, From clipboard to converts. This application is going to do what? Convert from clipboard data structure to what is other data structure? Let's say other common data structure is XML language. XML language. So common data structure. Convert and now sends the request. Common data structure in which format? In XML format. Means foreign language is XML format here. Request is being sent. This will receive the request. Once it receives the request in which format?
XML.
In XML format. Then what it is going to do?
It convert to .NET.
Converts into native language, that is native .NET variables. Okay, converted. So it has to do some processing, right? So based on this, it will do perform processing. It is going to interact with its database. Now this is going to interact with the native language and converting again into queries and all. It will interact with its database. From its database, it is going to get the output. Interact with DB. Okay, from there it is going to get the output. Fetch output. So output once it is going to fetch the output. This is one thing here, and now here another one is output. Output will be in which format? Response. It will be in which format? .NET language. So then what it is going to do? It is going to convert
to
XML language and sends. Okay, look at here. Now response in XML format. Response in XML format, which is common data structure. Now this is going to receive a response here. Now this is going to receive a response. Response will be received in which format? Response is received in XML format. What it is going to do now? It is going to convert into
clipboard format.
Native clipboard format. That's how the communication happens between two applications. Conversion techniques happens at both of the applications. This makes sense, everyone?
Yes.
Let me write down here. Generates output in .NET format, then converts into XML. This is response. Okay, so this one is request phase. Okay, so like this, you need web services to be implemented. So here this is called consumer application. This is called service provider application. Service provider application owns the web service program at its end. So this owned web service program is going to take the request and sends a response back to the requester application. This is how we can establish connection between two applications over web by using the concept of web services. Everyone clear with this?
Yes, sir.
So here, when you are using web services, see here, this is your Windows browser. I mean, like your Chrome browser. Using your Chrome browser, you are trying to interact with another application. Let's say Google application. So how do you interact with Google application?
You type in the query.
Something called HTTPS. This HTTP is called as
Okay.
Hypertext transfer protocol. Hypertext transfer protocol. See, this Google browser is communicating with some other application which is there on web. To establish communication between these two, we need services. So every service is going to use a protocol. All your web applications, what we have, we will interact with those. We will interact with those applications by using a protocol called a hypertext transfer protocol. Similarly, here in our application related web service programs, if two applications wants to interact by using web services, your service provider will decide and create his service provider's web service program by using one of the protocol. So there are n number of protocols available provided. So it depends on the service provider to decide what protocol to use while developing their web service using some programming language. The protocols includes SOAP. This is what is the protocol SOAP stands for? Simple Object Access Protocol. Okay, and the next one is REST, Representational State Transfer. It's an architecture actually. Unlike it's a protocol, it's an architecture. State transfer, or you call REST as an architecture generally. Okay, we'll discuss more about REST and SOAP later. Like this, we have MQ, we have Java, we have .NET, and we have Java messaging service, and we have what else? Cobra, we have COM. Like this, there are n number of protocols available. So when your service is being built, it has to follow the set of rules and regulations defined by one of the protocol. I wanted to build a service using SOAP protocol, web service. Then there will be certain rules and regulations that will be told by SOAP, that will be given as a guidelines in the SOAP protocol, what data structures to use and all. Accordingly, you have to follow. If your service you wanted to build by using RESTful architecture, then you have to follow those some protocols. What is the input data structure, response data structure, all that. MQ Java accordingly. Okay. So we will discuss about these protocols. We will discuss about all these protocols tomorrow. This is about web services. There should be a diagram here. Again, I am going to post one more diagram which we have discussed today. Okay, so we will discuss about SOAP services, REST services, and we work on each of these. Anyone who wanted to work on SOAP service or REST service, before you proceed to work on using PRBC environment, you must need to know about what are in detail about SOAP service, how a SOAP service work, what are the URLs and all that we need, and what is the data structure that it supports. There are certain details like this which we need to know. In detail, I will explain you tomorrow. Okay, so you have any questions to ask me in this, you can ask me.